I'm Bob Hutchinson. Welcome to the DollarCentsShow.com, making sense of every dollar. If you do not understand financial matters, you are in the right place. If you don't understand interest rates, you are in the right place. If you don't understand inflation, you don't understand monetary policy from fiscal policy, you are in the right place. If you don't know how to buy or sell a house and understand what goes into it, you are in the right place. Now, if you haven't studied economics, finance, accounting, business administration, things of that kind, which are typically done at the college or university level, then the chances are excellent that you are financially illiterate. And it's not really your fault because these are subjects that really most people never do study. And so, probably over 90% of the people in this country are financially illiterate. Therefore, if you are a doctor, a lawyer, a mechanic, a carpenter, a teacher, a nurse, chances are very good that you are financially illiterate. So, if that's the case, you've come to the right place. If you want to gain an understanding of these things. Now, just a reminder that we are not giving advice. We're not financial advisors. We're not investment advisors. We're not giving financial advice. We're not giving legal advice. For that matter, we're not giving any sort of professional advice. And likewise, there are no express or implied warranties of fitness for particular purpose or accuracy regarding any of the information given here. So the whole idea is to present this material to you for no charge, for free, so that if you don't have the time or the money to pursue these subjects or at the college or university level, the idea here is to give you some of that knowledge. And in addition, I've been involved in, as you'll come to learn in the following segments, in areas that are very relevant. And so I plan on giving you a lot of real life examples from my experience which I want to put to work for you so that you can combine that with the other sort of textbook forms of knowledge we'll be presenting and to try to strengthen your financial hand as much as possible. Yeah, the whole idea is to help give you the financial tools so that you can be successful, so that you can have a financial future, so that you can make sense of all of these things and have a full and rich life. So that's going to do it for now. Look forward to having you join us in the episodes to come. Welcome back to another edition of the DollarCentsShow.com. Glad you're here. So we are going to continue our discussion, and we touched on a major theme that we're going to be using throughout, and that's one of cause and effect. And I mentioned last time the example of if you throw a match on gasoline, a can of gasoline, it's going to explode. Well, this cause and effect thing is extremely important in the area of financial literacy because what we do and what policies are in effect have a direct impact on what happens. And in here, you can see you drive a car at 130 miles an hour. Well, probably you're going to have an accident. Um, and if you borrow money you can't repay, uh, you're going to sink the ship and you're going to have to file bankruptcy. And for those of you who don't know what bankruptcy is, well, that is something where essentially you make a filing in federal court and you turn over all of your assets if you have any, and then you submit your debts. And of course, that's something that stays on your record and it destroys your credit. And you might find you're unable to borrow money for quite some time. I mean, it's exactly where you do not want to be. Um, if you spend money like a drunken sailor, you're going to wake up with a hangover. I mean, and the same is true with the government. when the government spends massive amounts of money, uh, it it has an effect, and one of the major effects of that is inflation. And we'll be talking about inflation and what exactly that is. But you notice from the year 2020 to the year 2024, prices went way up, right? Well, that is because the government spent a bunch of money it did not have. And as a result, the currency uh, was expanded, and so you had more money chasing the same amount of goods. And when that happens, that's inflation. And when you have inflation, prices go way up. And so what happened was, in order to pay for this ridiculous spending, the money stock in our country was increased by 40%. And if you noticed how much the prices went up, I mean, in many cases, it did go up 20%. Housing, in many cases, went up 40%. I mean, it's a nightmare. And inflation is something that destroys and has destroyed countries. Um, and the and again, we'll get more into that. But I guess one of the primary examples of that was during the so-called Weimar Republic in 1930s Germany, and where the currency became so worthless, it literally required a wheelbarrow full of Deutschmarks in order to buy a loaf of bread. I mean, that's how bad it got. And what was worse is that it led to um, extreme government. I mean, it actually paved the way for Adolf Hitler to gain power. And not only that, but of course, Hitler then decided to declare war on the world, and it plunged the entire world into a war that cost countless lives, millions upon millions of lives, destroyed all sorts of property. It caused inflation all over the world. The inflation there started with one country, but look what it led to, bit by bit by bit by bit. And so, cause and effect. Um, and the reason I really stress this today is because there are a lot of people, and including politicians, running around saying, well, there is no cause and effect. Well, if you believe that, I have a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. I mean, history proves that out again and again and again. And what the beginning of this debacle in 2020, uh, politicians such as Alexandria Ocasio Cortez um, and others were saying, well, now we have modern monetary theory. And under modern monetary theory, we can print as much money as we like, and there'll be no inflation. Well, a lot of people, even Obama's Treasury Secretary, Larry Summers, said, you're wrong. Don't do it. You'll have massive inflation. Well, they didn't listen. And so they did it. And of course, we had massive inflation. So if you don't like prices going through the roof, you need to not only understand this, but pay attention to what these politicians are saying today, because you can see right there that that does have a tremendous impact on your own life, right? I mean, and as I indicated, I have a lot of empathy for younger people starting out. Well, if you feel like the prior administration, meaning the Biden administration, let you down, and that Congress let you down because of the massive money that was spent um, and the massive borrowing that occurred, well, you have a right to be upset. They didn't do anyone any favors. What they did do is they adopted these policies that caused egg prices, grocery prices to skyrocket, housing prices. I mean, to get to the point where it became somewhere between difficult and impossible for people to buy a house. And that's the last thing we want in this country. And an associated problem with that is when you have inflation, in order to stop it, what happens is, interest rates have to be increased. So what that means is if you want to buy a car, and you need to finance it and have a car payment, that means you're going to pay more because those interest rates are higher. If you want to buy a house, well, that means and you need a mortgage, which most people do when they start out. You're going to pay your mortgage payment's going to be much higher because of these interest rates. They're higher. So here again, you can see the cause and effect. It affects you right smack in the pocketbook. And it gets back to there ain't no free lunch. You got to pay the piper sooner or later, and you have these people that made all these crazy promises. I mean, it sounds good, right? And remember, a lot of these politicians, and this is where financial literacy comes in, they're going to make promises to you they have no possible way of keeping. And your job is to be informed so you can prevent people that are going to do financial harm, keep them out of office. That's I mean, it's in your own best financial interest to do that, right? I mean, would you rather have a house that costs 40% more or 40% less? Well, I mean, we all know the answer to that, right? It's a no-brainer. But and here again, that's the cause and effect. And here again, that's the importance of financial literacy. And I can't stress it enough. And we'll be talking about it from time to time to time. And on a related note, I want to talk about this word theory. I mean, anytime you hear someone say, I have a theory, go back 10 paces and hold on to your wallet when it comes to financial matters. I have a theory. Modern monetary theory. Well, theories are fine, but the question is, do they work? And the good news is we have a lot of financial history, which I'm going to be talking about, which are direct guideposts to what works and what doesn't. I mean, and remember, I'm not going to be here preaching to you how you should vote. What I am going to do is give you the financial tools to understand what the effects of your vote will be. And then it's up to you to choose. I mean, if you had to go back, say you're voting age, and if you had to go back to vote for someone who would increase housing by 40%, would you have voted for that person? I doubt it. But maybe at that point you didn't know. And that's the thing about a lot of people today, including younger people. They don't know. And I know a lot of you, I've talked to a whole bunch of you. I know you're hungry for this financial knowledge. And you are because you want to have a future. What you don't need is some politician picking your pocket. I mean, here, give me your money. Well, no, you can't have my money. Why don't you go find a real job, Or if you are in politics, your job is to benefit people, not feather your own nest, not get reelected, not make promises you can't possibly keep. And another thing I want you to remember about a lot of these politicians, they themselves are financially illiterate. We have thousands of years of financial history to look at to know that when you print or issue too much money, you'll have inflation. We have that, and that is evidence. So when you have a politician that talks like there's no such thing as a history of this stuff, and there won't be a problem because they have a new theory, you know what to do. You now know what to do. You now know how you want to proceed, and so that is a real point here. Now, the next thing that we want to talk about is facts versus opinion, and I think this is really important. Because what you're going to hear a lot of in life, and especially regarding financial matters, is you're going to hear a lot of opinions, and every person on the planet has an opinion, right? The question is their opinion any good? Well, what we're going to do here in these podcasts is we're going to deal with the facts. Opinions are fine, but opinions should be based on facts, but often they're not. So you're going to have to um, decide what you're going to have to look at. What are the facts? Now, let me give you an example of opinions versus facts. If I have the opinion that Tom Brady is a terrible quarterback, and I say that, look, he was a terrible quarterback. Well, what are the facts? Well, the facts are he won 7 Super Bowls. The facts are that he holds all sorts of records in football. So, based on those facts, the only reasonable conclusion that can be drawn is that he's not a bad quarterback, he's a good quarterback, he's a great quarterback. And at least right now, he might be the best quarterback of all time. I mean, I think a lot of people feel that way, including me. But here, let's go back. Tom Brady is a terrible quarterback. Well, even if you don't know anything about football, if you didn't know 3 minutes ago, you do now, right? So if I come along and say, Tom Brady's a terrible quarterback, you're going to say, hey, buddy, you're full of it. What are you talking about? He's, um, and so that is an example. Another example is the weather is terrible today. That's, and of course, that's an opinion. But let's look at the facts. Well, the temperature is 70 degrees. There are clear blue sky, no wind. I mean, I think most people that those facts indicate it's a pretty nice day. I mean, a terrible day would probably be 70-mile-an-hour winds, 6 inches of rain within 1 hour. I mean, that's awful, right? Or 12 inches of rain in 2 hours. That would be terrible. Or blinding snowstorm, 50, 60-mile-an-hour winds. That's terrible. So let's go back. 70 degrees, clear blue skies, no wind. It's a terrible day. No, it isn't. Let's look at the facts. You say it's a terrible day. I look at the facts. And the facts are that it's 70 degrees, blue skies, no wind. So I know differently. That's your opinion. It's a bum opinion, and it's worth nothing, right? So you can see how when you look at the facts, they can be real. They can lead you to correct conclusions. And I'll give you an analogy. If you walk into a court of law and you say, "Look, I have all these opinions, and that's all I have," the judge is going to boot your case straight out of court, as he or she should, right? I mean, when you file a case in court, it's not, "Oh, here are my opinions." No, you are alleging facts. What are the facts? And that's really what juries do in this country, is they don't give their opinions. No, they find the facts. And I mean, a simple example: was the traffic light red or was it green? When that driver went through that intersection, did he have a green light or did he have a red light? And it's for the judge and the jury to determine what the facts of the case are. And then once they do that, then they can apply the appropriate result to those facts. And a lot of people, and this is something that is very important, is what you're going to find is a lot of people, and you'll see this in politics every day, where they misrepresent the facts. We're going to throw grandma out into the street, or they're going to throw grandma out into the snow, into the street, blah, blah, blah. What are the facts? Well, maybe the facts are that show that there's no such thing that's going to happen. Let me give you another example or analogy. Joe Smith testifies that when the car went through the intersection, that I saw the light and it was green. Okay. The attorney on the other side gets up and says, well, now you testified you thought the light was green. Well, the other attorney at that point would properly stand and say, objection, counsel is misrepresenting the facts, mischaracterizing the facts. And the judge would properly sustain, in other words, agree with the objection. And I mean, that's the thing about a court of law. When someone tries to mischaracterize or misrepresent, in other words, to say something, to say something the other witness said, and put a twist on it that were and introduce different facts, it's not permitted. But unfortunately, in real life, you don't have a judge following everyone around, and you don't. And who can rule on whether or not the person is misrepresenting or mischaracterizing the facts. So that is something to be constantly on guard for, because what you're going to see is it will happen all the time, and it's going to be up to you to separate the true from the false. And what a lot of these people will do, get back to spaghetti and meatballs. They'll try to jumble it all up and mix it all up to confuse you, the voter. Why? So they can get reelected, so that they can get their agenda, even though it may be harmful, I mean, really harmful to your financial interests. So, one last example, and this is at the risk of kind of belaboring this thing, but it's okay because it's this subject is so important. I say, this is a great, you walk into a car dealership and a guy comes out and says, this is a great car for you to buy. Well, that's his opinion, right? So, well, let's look at the facts. Well, let's see here. This beauty has 250,000 miles on it, has bad brakes and a bad transmission. So, no, it's not a great car for you or anyone else on the planet to buy. It's a terrible car. And those are the facts. That is an opinion or a conclusion based upon the facts. In other words, the facts tell you it's a terrible car. And you're going to see that financial, oh, this is a great deal for you, or this is a great mortgage for you. This is a great financing package for you. You got to look at the facts. And when you do, you're going to find it's going to make and or save you incredible money. And that's what you want, right? And you keep making these correct financial decisions, you're going to love it. So that's going to do it for now. Glad you could join us. Look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for joining us. Just wanted to mention that all material in these segments are subject to the copyright laws, and therefore there is to be no unauthorized recording or transcription of any of the materials here without our express written permission, and that a new segment will be released every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. So look forward to seeing you again.